Welcome to Herdley, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today, we listen to Welcome to Teaching, an illustrated guide to the best profession in the world, in which we probe into the art of fostering an inclusive, engaging, and well-organized learning environment to enhance student success and teacher effectiveness. Douglas Fisher is professor and chair of educational leadership at San Diego State University and a leader at Health Sciences High and Middle College. Nancy Frey is professor of educational leadership at San Diego State University and a leader at Health Sciences High and Middle College. Don't go away. Herdley the editor will be right back with the story. Today, let me share 3 stories that illustrate the importance of creating an inclusive, engaging, and well-organized learning environment. These stories, drawn from the book, show us how small, deliberate actions can profoundly impact both students and teachers. We begin with a teacher named Laura, who teaches 5th grade and has a diverse group of students, followed by a tale of an unexpected classroom challenge faced by a new teacher, Jason. And finally, we meet Angela, a seasoned teacher who discovers a new way to engage her students. Laura walked into her classroom on the first day of school, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. Her classroom was carefully organized, with colorful posters and neatly labeled bins for every subject. But Laura knew that creating an engaging environment meant more than just good organization. She needed to make her students feel like they belonged. She began by learning every student's name by heart within the first few days. More importantly, she learned how to pronounce them correctly, a seemingly small gesture that had a huge impact. One of her students, Amina, had a name that was often mispronounced. "It's Amina, not Amina," Amina would say, her voice barely a whisper, a look of disappointment in her eyes. But Laura made it a point to get it right, practicing with Amina and even inviting her to share its meaning and origin with the class. As days went by, Laura noticed a transformation in Amina. She started participating more, her confidence growing visibly. The classroom was becoming a place where she felt valued and seen. A welcoming classroom climate is one where students feel a sense of belonging, as the book rightly puts it. Laura's effort to create a respectful and inclusive environment was already bearing fruit. But she didn't stop there. She also incorporated student interests into her lessons, asking Amina to share her love of drawing by illustrating scenes from a book they were reading. This inclusion not only engaged Amina, but also inspired other students to share their interests, making the classroom a lively, vibrant place of learning. The key to this success was Laura's ability to foster relationships built on trust and respect, laying the foundation for a more inclusive environment. Jason, a new teacher fresh out of college, faced a different challenge. His classroom was well organized, but he quickly realized that organization alone wasn't enough to engage his students. During his first few weeks, he struggled to get his class's attention, especially during the afternoons when students were tired and restless. He decided to try something new: interactive learning stations. The idea was to create small, focused learning environments within his classroom where students could engage with different aspects of the lesson in a hands-on way. At first, things didn't go as planned. The classroom was chaotic, with students unsure of where to go or what to do. But Jason didn't give up. He patiently guided his students, refining the process each day. He noticed that when students were given a sense of autonomy, their engagement levels skyrocketed. One afternoon, Jason set up a science station where students could build simple circuits. To his surprise, a student named Marcus, who often struggled with traditional reading assignments, excelled at this hands-on task. Marcus's face lit up as he successfully completed the circuit, and for the first time, Jason saw a spark of genuine interest in his eyes. The book notes, "A welcoming learning environment is crucial for the success of students, and you." Jason was beginning to see this firsthand. He realized that engagement was not just about making lessons fun, but about giving students different ways to shine. The interactive stations became a staple in his classroom, and over time, even the most reluctant learners began to participate eagerly. Jason learned that creating an engaging environment was an ongoing process that required patience, creativity, and a willingness to adapt. Meanwhile, Angela, a veteran teacher with over 20 years of experience, had always prided herself on her structured classroom. She believed in maintaining a tight ship, with every lesson meticulously planned and every minute accounted for. However, Angela began to notice that while her classroom was orderly, it wasn't particularly engaging for her students. They completed their tasks, but seemed to do so out of obligation rather than curiosity. Angela decided to take a bold step out of her comfort zone. She introduced a question of the day that allowed students to share their thoughts on topics that interested them, ranging from, "What's the best invention of all time?" to, "If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?" The results were astonishing. Students who rarely spoke up began to share their thoughts eagerly. Angela found herself learning more about her students' passions and interests, which she then wove into her lessons. For example, when she discovered that many students were fascinated by space exploration, she adapted a science unit to include a project on designing a sustainable space habitat. The project required students to research, collaborate, and present their findings, skills that aligned perfectly with the curriculum. The book captures this sentiment well. A student-centered classroom thrives on beliefs about belonging and a sense of ownership in the classroom. Angela's willingness to adapt and create a more inclusive, student-centered environment transformed not just her classroom, but her entire approach to teaching. Each of these stories illustrates the powerful impact of fostering an inclusive, engaging, and well-organized learning environment. For Laura, it was about building relationships and recognizing each student's unique identity. For Jason, it was about finding new ways to engage students by giving them autonomy and hands-on learning opportunities. And for Angela, it was about stepping out of her comfort zone to create a space where students felt a sense of ownership over their learning. As the editor of Herdley, by learning these approaches, we can redefine the traditional classroom experience and create environments where every student feels seen, heard, and inspired to learn. In reflecting on the key argument about creating an inclusive, engaging, and well-organized learning environment, it's clear that these elements are crucial for fostering both student success and teacher effectiveness. One particularly compelling story from the book involves a high school teacher named Maria, who faced a unique challenge: a student named Kevin, who had been labeled as a troublemaker. Instead of resorting to punitive measures, Maria decided to take a different approach. She created a learning environment where Kevin could take on a leadership role. She asked him to help organize group projects and serve as a mentor to younger students struggling with similar challenges. This strategy, as simple as it seemed, transformed Kevin's behavior and engagement. He became more focused, more invested in his work, and his academic performance improved significantly. The teacher's role is not just to impart knowledge, but to create conditions where learning can thrive, as the book poignantly notes. Maria's story reinforces the power of seeing students as partners in their own education, rather than just recipients of knowledge. By embracing inclusivity, engagement, and organization, teachers can create classrooms that not only teach, but also inspire and motivate. As the editor of Herdley, by mastering these strategies, we are not just shaping students' minds, we are empowering them to take charge of their own learning and become lifelong learners.